Welcome to the Panama Canal.
Or more specifically, the Gatun Lake.
Yes.
Between the two sets of locks.
Yes, we've been through the first set, we've come up to the elevation of the lake.
More on that later.
Yes, we've got about 5 hours sailing across the lake and then back down the other side into the Pacific.
More on those locks a little later.
Yes.
So now, welcome back to the series, if you have been following along.
Yes, and if you are new here, we are Travels with David.
And Mark, we bring you along for weekly cruise and travel-related videos. And in this series, we've been all over the place.
We have. We're away for 25 days. We're currently on a 16-night sailing from Miami to LA via this lovely canal you find us in currently.
Onboard Brilliant Lady.
Yes.
We are so excited to share with you. From now on, every single port is brand new for Virgin Voyages and for us. So exciting. But let's rewind to early this morning, where we were invited to a very special part of the ship.
We were. We had to set our alarms early, but it was worth it. We had to set our alarm for 6 a.m.
Yes.
Because we were approaching the first lock at 7:30 a.m. this morning. We have to say a huge thank you to Carrie and Jeff, who invited us to this very special part of the ship.
Yes, to the massive suite. So come along as we rewind and show you our adventures this morning.
There were 3 signs this morning that we were getting closer to the Panama Canal locks. The tugboats were getting closer, the land was getting closer, and even the lifeboats were getting closer to the ship. To fit through the locks, Brilliant Lady goes into what's called Panama mode. Unlike her sister ships, the lifeboats can be repositioned onto the promenade deck, making the ship narrow enough to squeeze through the canal. Yesterday, we got a notification in the Virgin Voyages app letting us know that parts of the wraparound promenade would be closed during the transit, and honestly, that just made everything feel even more real. There was this really calm atmosphere around the ship this morning, but underneath it all, you could feel the buzz building. Everyone knew we were about to experience something pretty special. If you're unfamiliar with the locks or why they even exist, here's a very simple explanation. Think of them like UK canal locks, just on a completely ridiculous scale. The Panama Canal doesn't cut straight through at sea level, because the Caribbean Sea and Pacific Oceans actually sit at completely different tidal heights. So instead of blasting one giant trench all the way through Panama, ships are lifted up, guided through the flooded centre of the country on Gatun Lake, and then lowered back down again through a series of lock chambers. And today, we'll first be transiting through the newer Agua Clara locks on the Caribbean side of the canal, part of the expanded lock system built for massive Neo-Panamax ships like Brilliant Lady. As we mentioned, we'd been invited by Carrie and Jeff to experience the transit from the massive suite, and honestly, there probably wasn't a better place on the entire ship to watch this unfold. Not only did we have incredible views as we inched closer towards the first lock, we could also look directly across to the bridge, where all of those final checks were no doubt taking place. And thanks to the massive suite's huge outward-facing arms, we also had the perfect view looking straight down the side of the ship, which became very useful to see just how tight this squeeze was really going to be. We think this crew member was attaching sensors to measure the ship's clearance through the locks. The margins here are tiny, so alongside the pilots taking control of the ship, the tugboats, and every measuring system imaginable, there's a lot going on behind the scenes to get a ship this size through safely. With one tugboat moving into position at the front and another at the rear, we slowly started moving towards the lock. And then we got our first proper look at the clearance. It's one thing hearing that it's tight, but seeing the walls that close to the side of the ship in person was something entirely different. The deeper we moved into the lock, the tighter it somehow seemed to get. The atmosphere around the ship was brilliant. Everywhere you looked, people were lined along the railings, leaning over balconies, trying to get the best possible view of what was happening. Even the new athletics club area on Brilliant Lady was packed with people watching the transit. Honestly, this is going to be an incredible viewing spot on those Alaska sailings too. One of the nicest things though was seeing so many crew members out enjoying the moment as well. You could tell this wasn't just any other day at work for them either. And for anyone determined not to miss a second of the action, even whilst waiting for a drink at the bar, the live, forward-facing bridge camera was being streamed onto the TVs directly behind the bars. With the ship now fully inside the first lock and the huge gates closing slowly behind us, it was time for the first lift. Little by little, Brilliant Lady started rising up towards the level of the second lock. Then, once the water levels matched, the massive gates ahead slowly slid open and we moved forward to do it all over again. By the third and final lock, we could finally see Gatun Lake waiting ahead of us, but just as we approached it, the heavens absolutely opened. Thankfully, we were probably in the best place on the ship for a tropical downpour, so we retreated back inside the massive suite for a chat with Carrie, Jeff, Bert and Brandy while sipping a glass of fizz and waiting for it to pass. And honestly, it just added to the atmosphere of the day. Once the rain finally cleared, the final gates opened and we were cleared to move forward and on to Gatun Lake. Experiencing this transit was genuinely special, but what made it even more special was the atmosphere around the ship. Everyone just seemed happy. It had that relaxed feeling of a sea day, no pressure, nowhere to rush off to, but instead of staring out into open ocean, there was always something fascinating happening around you. And being able to experience it with lovely people from such a unique part of the ship made it one of those travel moments we know we'll remember for a very long time. With the final lock now behind us, we officially entered Gatun Lake. The front tug peeled away, most likely heading back to help guide the next ship through the lock system, whilst the rear tug stayed with us for the next stage of the transit through the lake. It was amazing seeing all those other ships lined up and waiting for their turn. But now, with the weather back to beautiful sunshine, it was time for our next leg of our Panama Canal transit.
And that brings us back to now.
It does, yes, a very hot and sweaty now.
Yes, that was so special though,
Yes.
sailing through there
Oh my
and
gosh.
having the view at the front of the ship so we could see the locks opening and us going in.
Yeah,
And then,
and I think everyone up there was all impressed by how quickly we actually rose, with the water bit.
yeah, the water bit going up was still relatively slow. I think it takes about 15 minutes for it to go up.
Yeah, well, considering it's, a massive ship is...
It's an impressive operation.
Yes. It does take quite a while to move between the locks, but that's understandable.
Yeah, because of the clearance either side's not great, so they have to be very careful.
Yes. Yeah, but what a fabulous experience.
Yes, and we could hear the howler monkeys as well.
We could do,
which
yes.
was very cool.
Yeah, I think I just heard one there. We're very close to land still. It's quite crazy.
Should we be this close in this ship?
No.
I think so. I can hear something. You can get lost in it and then you're like, what? And then you go into a daze. Anyway, I think it is incredibly warm.
Yes.
I probably have some moob sweat occurring. So I think what we're going to do is
What did we say earlier? Humidity.
Humidity. Yes. Anyway, we're going to go get a frozen cocktail, I think, courtesy of
Yes, one of our viewers, Stephen. Thank you so much. Stephen sent us some money via means of buymeacoffee.com.
Link below if you want to do the same.
We very much appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So he knew we were going through the Panama Canal today, so he's like, get yourself a drink. So we're going to go do that now, Stephen. With your kind generosity, we're going to go get a frozen cocktail.
And then we're going to relax and watch this scenery go by. I don't know if we said, probably the next sort of 5 hours is this type of scenic, almost like a river cruise, really.
Yes, you could say.
Through the
or
Gatun,
a lake
through
boat.
the Gatun Lake.
We're on a lake boat right now.
A big one.
A big one. Large.
Yes.
Give me a drink now, please.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
Running parallel to us on the port side is the Panama Canal Railroad. Completed in 1855, this railroad stretches approximately 47.6 miles or 76.6 kilometers from Colon on the Atlantic
Well, we've made it through Gatun Lake.
We have, and that was so relaxing, wasn't it?
It was gorgeous.
We spent the afternoon just chilling. We went for some dinner in the galley.
We did.
With some lovely views as we were sailing along.
Spent some time in the hammock, watching the world go by.
Yes, it's been just lovely, hasn't it?
It's been, very special. It's turned into a river cruise at the moment.
Basically a river cruise, yes.
Very, very special.
We're now waiting at the other end of the lake now for our second set of locks. So right behind us you can see...
Move out the way.
We're being tugged off.
Now. I think we've got about 40 minutes until we go through these next ones.
Yeah, we thought we'd get a different view for these ones.
Yeah, so we're just enjoying, just chilling, watching, and trying to stay on the camera.
We had a water spout situation earlier. That was fun to see.
We did,
wasn't it?
yes. But yes, it's still very, very warm.
Yeah, it's humid.
I'm claggy.
Yeah.
After crossing Gatun Lake, it was time for the second set of locks, descending back down towards the Pacific Ocean through the Cocoli locks. This time, we headed down to a much lower vantage point at the aft of the ship, and honestly, being this close to the water made the scale of everything feel even bigger. From back here, we also got a front row view of just how much work those tugboats were doing behind the scenes. Watching the rear tug fighting to keep Brilliant Lady perfectly lined up in the lock was genuinely impressive. The margins are so tight that every tiny movement matters. By this point, the process felt strangely relaxing to watch and almost felt familiar. Enter the lock, gates close behind, water level drops, gates open again, and then slowly move forward and do it all over again. Having said that, even after hours of transiting the canal, it never really stopped feeling impressive. Midway through, we also got a look over towards the original Panama Canal locks, where you can still see the old locomotive system, nicknamed the Mules, helping guide ships through the chambers. Seeing both systems operating side by side really puts into perspective just how huge this entire operation is. Lock by lock, we slowly continued lowering back down towards sea level. And then finally, after a full day of crossing Panama, the last gates opened. Up ahead, the Pacific Ocean was waiting, as well as a whole heap of new ports for us and Virgin Voyages to discover. But first, we had a glimpse of Panama City in the distance. After hours of slowly rising, lowering, waiting, watching, and inching through the canal, suddenly you're back out into open water again, with an entirely different ocean waiting ahead.
And just like that, we are through the canal.
We are, yes, Panama Canal. Completed it, mate.
Yeah, we are in the Pacific Ocean now. Slightly redder than we were before.
Yeah, as a ginger, I've spent far too long in the sun today. I have had my factor 50 on though.
You have?
But still.
As a non-ginger, I've also spent far too long in the sun. I did, though. I put on quite a bit of sun lotion this morning, and then we topped up again during the day. So it should have protected me. However, you can probably see I'm a little bit red.
Pink.
It'll turn into a tan in the end, or what's a bit of skin damage between friends.
Was it worth it for the views? Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? I'll tell you when I next have my checkup with the doctors.
That was, as an experience, though, up there with some of the most special ones.
It was. Being on the first one as well.
The first time Virgin's
There was a lovely moment where they did a tannoy announcement to say, we have successfully gone through the locks, we have traversed the canal for the first time, and it was a spontaneous
round of
applause. Very
Yes,
special.
It was very special, yeah, and to have basically seen it in so many different places. So, like this morning, we were in the fabulous, massive suite.
We were.
Then we
Went to the dock
Yeah,
and
so
watched the first lock from the dock.
Yes.
The first lock from the dock. Because we wanted to feel what it was like lower down and see it at the back. So that was really cool. And then we had an invite from Rebecca. So hi, Rebecca, if you're watching. And thank you so much for the invite. Who is in a cheeky corner suite right at the back of the ship.
Deck 12.
On deck 12. So we went there to watch some of it as well. And then we popped back down once we'd gone through the final lock. Because the last lock looked like the biggest one.
Yeah, like once we got down to the dock level, we were kind of just below like the ground level, which sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah. But now we are sailing
Yes, we've
out
sailed
into the ocean.
We think we're sailed past Panama City. We could
Yes.
be very wrong.
No, I think it is Panama City.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And now it is...
Well, we've
I
freshened
don't have
up.
my watch on yet.
We freshened up, had showers, got changed because we were very sweaty.
And sticky.
Yes, but it's about 5:10, so it's Richard's happy hour. We're going to go and get our Moet fix.
We are.
And then we're off to the wake for dinner.
And then tonight we've got Murder in the Manor, which we loved last time. And we've heard there's been some tweaks.
Ooh,
So it'll be interesting to see what's changed.
What's
But we will take you with us. Come along. And now it's the next day.
It is the next day.
Still red.
We look quite healthy, actually.
Do you think?
Yes.
I think I look quite pink. We'll see how it turns out on the camera afterwards. Anyway, we left you on the way to the wake. So let's talk about that first.
Well, actually, we went to Richard's rooftop. Was actually
Oh,
where
yes,
we said
that's
we were
true.
going. Yes, so we went to Richard's rooftop, had our Moe fix.
Yes, we were talking to Caricature most of the time as well, which was lovely. So,
Yes,
Cara, if you're watching.
Yes, it was lovely. Lovely to spend time with you again.
Mm-hmm. And then we went to the wake.
We did too. It wasn't our best experience.
No.
When we like to be honest, it wasn't our best experience. Service was really slow.
Really slow.
It took, I'd say, it was. Well, we didn't get our main until an hour in,
Over an hour in.
which is
yeah.
unusual for the service on board Virgin.
And I don't know if I've ever noticed it feeling like the staff were stretched.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know if there was like a shortage or something.
we will say our server was very friendly.
Manuel.
Yeah, he was lovely, really friendly. But
He
just
did
seemed-
Manuel with the service.
He just seemed. It seemed like he was waiting on too many tables.
Yeah, and there was a table next to us that had got up and left quite a long time ago, and all the used crockery and stuff was still on their table.
For a while.
After our mains, we were sat there for quite a while, to the point where we were like, we need to go.
We need to go now.
So we were like, got up and left and just said to him, it's like, oh, we're just heading off. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's not a slight on him.
No. But it was a bit slow.
The food, my fillet, both had to fill it
Mm-hmm.
as normal. Mine was a bit tough, if I'm honest, and not enough that I said something. I didn't say anything because it was fine,
Mm-hmm.
but it was tougher than normal. The saving grace was the special last night, which was the
Braised short rib.
that was beautiful.
That was, fell apart, absolutely. And you had a special starter as well. You had your carpaccio.
I did have the beef carpaccio. That was nice.
Yeah, we missed that off the Extra Virgin. They used to do that on the Extra Virgin menu. I don't think they do it anymore. We've not been to Extra Virgin yet on this trip, so maybe they've brought it back. Who knows? But that was very tasty.
Yes. Yeah.
We forgoed dessert
Yeah, we were full.
because we were very, very full. And then we went to Murder in the Manor.
Yeah, Murder in the Manor. We saw that. If you've watched our previous series, we have seen that before.
Yes, this was a different cast because it's the same cast from Up With a Twist that do Murder in the Manor.
Yeah.
We had completely different experiences.
I was going to butt in to say that we didn't film it this time.
No.
Because they did a tannoy announcement to say that filming was not allowed, so we like to stick to the rules.
Yes, they've said that before, and then we've been told that we could.
Yeah, so sometimes it's a bit unknown.
But we do want to take the risk.
Yeah, so I will put some clips in from last time as we're talking, just so you've got something to look at.
Yes, but essentially it's a murder mystery type show. There's lots of dancing, frivolities, comedy.
Yeah.
I was laughing a lot. I enjoyed it a lot. It's not your sort of sense
It's
of
not
humour.
my sort of sense of humour, if I'm, again, being honest. I love the starting. I love when they come in with the big floaty...
In mourning,
creepy
funeral
gowns.
attire.
I love that. And if it carried... Like, if that sort of vibe carried on, I think I would more enjoy it. But then it turns more into the sort of Scooby-Doo slapstick. David loves it, and Nicole and Sarah loved it. If it's your sense of humour, you'll love it. And,
There was a very funny moment, though, where the clairvoyant guy was doing a bit of beatboxing and then kissed one of the other actors on the head twice. And Sarah and Nicole saw the same cast on their previous voyage that just finished before this one. And they said that didn't happen in that. And both the actors fully went. They were laughing, couldn't control themselves, which, as an audience member, was quite funny to see.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll get told off for that. I hope they don't, because it was hilarious and everyone else was laughing. So, yeah. But I enjoy Murder in the Manor.
yeah. There you go. There's something for everyone.
There is. And then this morning, we went to Serial Killers.
Yeah, we've never done it before.
Hold up, that's for a future video, where we'll be taking you along for 6 things we've never done on a Virgin Voyage. So subscribe and keep your eye out if you want to watch that one.
And that brings us to now.
Yes, our sea day floating through the Pacific Ocean
Yes.
on our way to Costa Rica.
We're going to go grab some lunch, and then we've got a spa session. Now, for those of you that were around for the first video embarkation,
Yes.
there was an issue where we got locked out of our room after the pyjama party.
And we sat in the corridor.
We sat in the corridor for quite a while.
Well, it was for an hour.
because it took too long to fix. It took longer than it should have done to fix.
And bearing in mind, we didn't get into our room until 1 a.m.
No, and then it was a couple of days with no communication, and we were like, we don't know what to do. We didn't unpack because we weren't sure whether we'd have to move rooms if the issue continued. We couldn't fully relax into it. So we talked to Sailor Services about it, and they've confirmed that they fixed the door panel now, and to help with our relaxation, they've gifted us a thermal suite pass.
Yes.
Which we appreciated of.
Yes, and we're going to use that this afternoon. So we're going to take this afternoon off from filming. We'll end this video here.
We shall. The next video, we shall be in Costa Rica.
Yes, on an excursion.
On a private excursion, not a Virgin one.
Our first one. So yes.
Will we make it back to the ship? We don't know.
Come along and find out. Yes.
But yes, that'll be next week. If you've enjoyed this week's video, please give it a thumbs up.
Do the usual subscribes.
Thank you, as always, to our lovely wanderers who give us that little bit of extra support. Nominal fee, link down below if you want to join. And if you have enjoyed this video, YouTube, I keep putting it over my... I'm saying it first so that it
we're
goes...
doing it over your face.
Okay.
If you have enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you'll like this other video. And also, I think by this point, I'll have put a link to the playlist as well. So we'll see you over there if you fancy. But if not, we'll catch you next time.
Bye. It's my hand over Mark's head.